I participated last year because well, I used to live in England and I like this sort of thing. And last year I got to the semi-finals and I wasn't that motivated for the semi-finals, so I lost to the person who eventually won last year. So this year I didn't start out very motivated, but after I got through the first round, I got really motivated and now I'm in the final, so it was good to do it again because I'm only learning.
Today is the 194th day of the financial crisis, according to the Volkskrant. During this time, tens of thousands of people have lost their jobs, huge companies like Lehman Brothers have gone under, and many, many others have gone into hiding behind the backs of their governments. All that has happened begs the question, credit crunch, crunch time for our economy? Well, no, I don't think so. Here is why. Firstly, and most importantly, the economy is like evolution. And as Darwin put it, survival of the fittest. The strongest survive. The economy works in exactly the same way. If we look at companies who take too many risks, have too small profit margins, or companies who have such intricate webs of payment and structure, they don't know how they're going to make money. They don't know how much money they can make, and they don't know how many people they will have at the end of the year. Every now and then, these companies need to be weeded out. The fact that people get made redundant is sad, but it is a necessary evil. In Holland, we suddenly trust our government again. The same goes for the United Kingdom. They acted swiftly and decisively. We trust them. Banks like Rabobank, safe banks, are suddenly becoming popular. They're showing the way forward. When we consider all the points, we come to the conclusion that the financial crisis is not only terror and recession. It may outperform the way we spend, it may outperform the way we bank, it may outperform our entire economy. After all, is that not what evolution is all about?
Your generation is known for excess. Do you think the credit crunch is going to change how you spend money and your behaviour?
We buy quite a lot, and in America people buy quite a lot, and then on credit, which is very dangerous, of course. I think there are quite some people with excessive spending, and I think we should cut back on that after the crisis, because now we need to help the economy regain its health. But after the crisis, we should maybe watch out a little. Yeah.
My weak point is probably that my speech is too much of a fairy tale. People might think that it's too optimistic, but I actually believe in it, so I hope I will inspire some people.
In recent history, more or less half a century ago, black people were oppressed and white men ruled. Blacks were separated from whites and vice versa. One black person was considered to be worth half of one white person. Now, only 50 years later, this idea of extreme prejudice in a westernized and civilized country seems unbelievable. Yet this was a situation of segregation in America at the time. A woman now known as the mother of modern-day civil rights movement, Rosa Parks, knew it was time for a change. She sat down in a bus and refused to give away her seat for a white passenger. I believe Rosa Parks' act is something that is courageous. She stood up for her own rights, the rights that every human being deserves. Now, in the 21st century, all human beings are equal. Everyone has the same chance to succeed. So if we want change, we need to be willing to work for that change. And over time, we can have that change. Or as Obama so simply put it, yes, we can. So what is this to do with regeneration and renewal? Since every generation needs regeneration, I believe every generation precedes and surpasses the previous one. This is done through the willingness to embrace change.
As you have seen in the past, change is always faced by the public or by the general public as something, as a danger, rather. How would you bring about that change?
Well, of course, there are a lot of risks in changing something. However, if one does not risk something, I believe one is lost. Because life is unpredictable and life comes with risks. So I think that we should be brave and we should just take a risk.
My reason to participate in the BBC Speakers Awards is that I thought it would be a really fun experience to speak in English to people and tell them what I think what my opinion is. How many of us here today have made our own decisions based on our own research and our own knowledge? And how many of us here today have simply jumped on the bandwagon, ignorant but happy not to be left behind? I am here today to encourage all of us to leave the herd behind and start thinking outside the box, perhaps even lead a new and well-informed herd. Thinking outside the box means thinking differently, thinking unconventionally. In short, it means being smart and creative. Who wants to be part of a herd when you can be a smart and creative thinker? It's time for us all to hop off this bandwagon. I see a lot of herd mentality. Which clothes to wear, which places to go to, how to act. Often the one that stands out is the easy target, or the person that everyone then starts to follow. It's not easy to stand out. Instead, we all just try and fit in. But I hope that I too can stand out, be informed, tell the truth, make a difference, and perhaps even lead rather than follow. Thank you.
Do you think there are any limitations to standing out?
There are definitely limitations to standing out. I'm encouraging people to stand out and make their own decisions, but I'm not encouraging people to start breaking the law. Stay within the border of what's allowed and what isn't.
I chose the subject fitting in and standing out because it was the subject which was for me the most passionate one and for me the most interesting one. In school, the children who stand out the most are the children who fit in the most. We are educated to fit in society, in university, etc. Schools are simply factories, creating a mass product ready to be used. In a classroom, there are many potential Mozarts, Einsteins, Shakespeares, but the teachers function as a Julius Caesar, telling them over and over again to shut up. Schools should challenge children to think for themselves, challenge them to ask questions, and most important, schools should learn children the value of fitting in as well as standing out. We need to pluck up courage and educate our youth to be human beings who stand in and fit out. Shakespeare created over 20,000 new words in his plays and poems. Today, I'd like to give meaning to 2 new words: standing in and fitting out. 2 ideas which mean nothing without each other.
Well, how would it work for the kids who are very good at economics, for instance, but not creative?
Well, you can be very creative with economics, and I don't mean...
Ask Arthur.
I don't mean making a sculpture of coins, but I mean, for example, Keynes was a very creative man. I talked about creating space. I have an entire room here, and I could start dancing or running through the room, but I'm quite comfortable standing right here at this moment. So having the space to be creative doesn't necessarily mean you have to use all the space you have. And I'm not saying every child is a potential genius, because if you want to become a genius, you have to have intelligence as well as creativity. But not being intelligent doesn't mean you can't be creative.
Question time is over. Well done, Roos van Ees. Thank you.